What's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in with me on another episode of The Run. I got the rundown of Week 4 in the NFL. I'm just going to get straight into it. I'm going to start off with this Chiefs and Broncos game. The Chiefs ended up winning 27-23. This was a nice game for both teams, man. The running game in this game between the Chiefs and Broncos was amazing. Kareem Hunt, he rushed for 121 with 19 attempts. Broncos, they had two players run for over 65 yards. I really enjoyed Kareem Hunt's running style. He was trucking people. He did a little bit of everything. My guy Patrick Mahomes, he did his things. Denver defense, they were coming for him, man. That D-line, was trying to get to him. They was forcing him to run out either left or right. And he still finished with 304, 62% completion rate. And he had a rushing TD, no interceptions. He still played solid. And it showed me that this guy, he was made of the right stuff, because a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle that pressure. Now, Denver, they did win the first half, but of course that's not the game. Offense was clicking on all cylinders. Then when the game came to the fourth quarter, it was kind of up for grabs. Patrick Mahomes did his things in the fourth quarter. Denver's D-line, they still came for him. But the thing that really kind of decided the game was during the end of the game, Broncos, Case Keenum, the quarterback, he threw a pass late in the drive that probably would have gave them the win. It most likely would have gave them the win, but he didn't complete it. Chiefs ended up winning 27-23. It's going to be a battle for Patrick Mahomes next week, man. I understand the Jags defense is going to come at him. They definitely going to try and bring it to him. So that's going to be a battle as well. But in terms of Week 4, Chiefs and Broncos, Chiefs did get the dub 27-23. Now for the Broncos and the Raiders. Raiders, they won 45-42. The game went to OT. This was an exciting game. Raiders defense, they applied some pressure. They also had a bit of a running game. Marshawn Lynch, it's always nice to see Beast Mode do his thing, man. Derek Carr, he threw for 437, 4 TDs, 60% completion rate. He had a monster game. Yeah, man, he did his thing. I was glad to see that Baker Mayfield didn't fold during this entire game. I was glad to see that he didn't just roll over, because the first drive of the game, he came out through an interception. Of course, things can always go downhill from there, but he kept his composure. He kept playing, just did his thing. The Browns' offense their running game looked really nice, man. I was really impressed by Nick Chubb. He had a hell of a game. Dude rushed for 105 with only 3 attempts and still had 2 touchdowns. Carlos Hyde even ran for 82 yards. So the Browns' ground game was nice. They did their thing nice. But where they really messed up is that they turned the ball over way too much, man. They had 3 fumbles. They only recovered 1 fumble, so it was two turnovers off the fumbles. Baker Mayfield threw 2 interceptions. They had too many turnovers, point blank period. They led 28-14 in the third quarter, and they just let the Raiders come back. They took their foot off the gas. Raiders ended up just doing their thing. Derek Carr, he started coming. Everybody else on the Raiders started coming for him. Raiders defense got the late game stop in the fourth, and then it was on. It was time to ball. OT hit. Raiders actually got lucky, because usually when you get the ball in OT, when you get the ball first in OT, that's the time to win it. You can't. It's no chances, no second chances usually in overtime. But they ended up getting a second chance. Raiders came out. They didn't get it done the first drive. They got another stop. Browns needed to win. They had another opportunity in overtime, but they didn't get it done. And then when you give a team 2 opportunities to win in overtime, you have to bring it home. So Raiders ended up bringing it home 45-42 in overtime against the Browns. That was a nice game to watch. Now for this other game, the Cowboys and the Lions. This was a close game as well. Cowboys won 26-24. Both teams went head-to-head. Cowboys were at home, so it was going to be tough for them to lose. But like I said, Zeke needed the ball more last week in Week 3. He did get the ball a lot more. He had 4 receptions, 88 yards. He had one TD, rushed for 152. Zeke was doing a lot this game, and it was nice to see him finally getting that groove and put the Cowboys on his back, to be honest, man. That's basically what I seen when I watched this game against the Lions. It started off rough for both teams. Lions defense kicked in. They were doing that thing. They had the game looking real close in the first half. Cowboys kicked into gear the second half. Dak in the offense, they was just going crazy. It came down to the wire. Yeah. Matthew Stafford got his team in a position to win that game. They couldn't get it done, man. Lions defense, they didn't get it done toward the end of the game. And you got to give credit to that Cowboys offense because they got downfield when they needed to. And but I noticed whenever Zeke is heavily involved in the offense, whenever he's getting touches, he's getting catches, and because he can do it all. Whenever he's participating a lot, that's usually when the Cowboys win. They made plays when they needed them most. Dallas, they ended up scoring and with nothing else on the clock, and hey, that was it. I do think maybe the Lions probably could have chopped something up if they did have a little bit of time on the clock because Matthew Stafford was actually playing really good. He threw for 307 with the 80% completion rate. So he played really good. But even though the Cowboys made mistakes throughout the game, they were still able to pull away with the dub 26-24. Now the Bengals and the Atlanta Falcons. Geez, this game hurt me. Bengals ended up winning 37-36. This was the Bengals' first win against the Falcons since 1987. Atlanta, they got to get their defense together, man. They just, last year, they struggled offensively. They struggled a lot offensively, and their defense was what won them games. Now, it's the opposite. Offense, is lovely to see the offense kicking butt like they should be, but even though the defense has injuries going on, they got to find something. They got to find a way to work it out and win games. But the game was against the Bengals. It was really just a big offensive battle. Teams lit each other up. They had 52 points combined at halftime. Atlanta, they got a few sacks in the second half, but it was nothing big enough to really throw the Bengals out of whack. It was only 3 points allowed in the third. It was just a big offensive power game. But if you want to talk defense in this game, because at some point in the game it has to be played, the Bengals, they didn't allow the Falcons to score a touchdown after they took the lead in the fourth. The Falcons had the lead in the fourth, and Bengals, they did shut them out. They didn't let them get anything else but a field goal, and they stayed there at 36, nothing else. Atlanta, they could have ended the game, but they let the Bengals capitalize on a 4th and 8 late game. If they were at the Falcons, or after the 4th and 8, they got to the Falcons 15. The Bengals needed a touchdown to win. It was nothing else. I think it was probably about 12 seconds or 15 seconds left on the clock. And Bengals needed a touchdown to win the game. But I just did not understand why players on the Falcons was playing so hard, focusing on the flats and focusing on these little short routes and small routes, leaving A.J. Green wide open in the corner of the end zone. It hurt me, man. It hurt me to watch this game because I thought we were going to pull it together and keep them guys out the end zone. But the Bengals, they did their thing, man. They ended up winning 37-36. That's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to follow me on Twitter @_Manny30. And you all have a great day today.